Hello, and welcome to another 5 Good Minutes, where I answer your theological questions in 5 minutes or less. Today's question is all about Bible translations. Specifically, what English translation of the Bible do I recommend that you read? Well, stay tuned to the very end of this video, and I will give you that answer. And there's 3 different kinds of philosophies when it comes to a Bible translation. The first one is a literal approach, where you take the original Hebrew and the Greek or Aramaic and translate it word for word into the English. The one drawback, though, is some of these literal translations do suffer from some readability, or they tend to be choppy. The second kind of philosophy is a dynamic equivalent approach, or a thought for thought, where it's not a word for word translation of the original language, but they'll give you the thought behind the passage. And so there's some interpretive skill there that's necessary from the translators to give you a thought for thought to help you with readability, to have it flow nicely into the English. And of course, the drawback there is as you're getting it readable into the English, you could very well sacrifice some accuracy from what the originals actually said. The third kind of Bible is a paraphrase, which is not a translation at all. It is actually a reinterpretation, saying things differently, paraphrasing what the original said, putting it into today's language. You see on this chart on the left is the word for word or literal approach. These are going to be the most accurate to the original languages. Some of these, of course, are the New American Standard, or the ESV, the English Standard Version, or of course a classic, the King James Version, New King James. The second category there is a thought for thought. Here you have some of these popular ones like the Holman Christian Standard or the NIV, which is probably one of the most popular Bibles out today, the New Century Version. Then you get into the paraphrases, which are more like the Good News Bible or the Living Bible or the Message. So what are my top 3 Bible translations? The top 3 that I would recommend and encourage people to read, and these are just my preferences. Number 1 is the one I use for preaching and teaching, the ESV, the English Standard Version. I love the accuracy and the balance of readability that the ESV brings. It's very, very great. Secondly, and really it's number 2 and 3, the Legacy Standard Bible and the New American Standard. The reason I say these together is the Legacy Standard Bible is the Bible that actually just came out, and it is an updated New American Standard. They just changed some words, for example, to be more accurate to the Hebrew. For example, instead of saying the Lord, it says the God's covenant name, Yahweh. And as you can see, my preference is for accuracy over making the translators make it more readable for me. Not that these translations are not readable at all. The ESV, I believe, is very readable, so is the New American Standard. However, I want to know exactly how it was in the original languages, because that is what the writers wrote. What are some of the best study Bibles that you can buy? 1, I would recommend the John MacArthur Study Bible. MacArthur has 50 years of study notes from his expository sermons and teachings. And I love John MacArthur and his approach to the Bible. Of course, the ESV Study Bible is a classic work filled with charts and maps and study notes. I highly recommend that. And as well as the Reformation Study Bible put out by Ligonier Ministries, and of course are the notes of R.C. Sproul. But not all Bible translations are created equal. And I would recommend that you avoid as much as you can the ones to the far right as your daily driver, meaning the paraphrases. At least go for a thought for thought if you must go more readable than accurate. But the one Bible definitely to avoid would be the Passion Translation. This is a product of Bethel Ministry and Bethel School out of Redding, California, and is chocked with some of their heresy and false doctrine, such as health and wealth gospel. And it's a very biased translation that I would definitely avoid. So, what Bible do I think you should read? Well, you know my preferences. I'm going to recommend that you go something with more accurate than readable. But if you're going to read anything, let me suggest to read the Bible that you will actually read. And this has been another 5 Good Minutes.